picked up something you might be interested in.
Hold very still, and choose your words carefully. They will determine how long you live.
Let's all just take a moment. I assure you, we mean you no harm.
You have no right to be here. You will tell me how you found this place. But it was lost. All communication ceased. There was no sign of it.
It was deemed necessary at the time. We will re-evaluate that decision in light of what has happened. Voris, I think we need not fear our guest. Perhaps, in this time of need, the Great Serpent has delivered us a gift.
Counselor, with due respect, we have not had unannounced visitors here in generations. It is a clear breach of security.
I do not disagree, and I know that security, in whatever small form we can grasp it, is of paramount importance. But you must acknowledge the timing is curious. And perhaps our guest's intent should be determined before we take further action. We received the automated transmission, but you are certainly not who we expected to find.
Great Serpent!
What's happening again?
Hear me!
Speaker, we are here!
We have reached out to you, to seek guidance in our hour of need. The gate in the Citadel has been opened just to seek you. Have I failed you? What is this place? Where am I? Why do you not show yourself? I strive only to follow your command. All must serve. Please, do not leave me in darkness. I seek only your wisdom, your guidance. Oh, Great Serpent, is that you? Is it your presence I feel? I feel something, yet I see nothing. Is this a test? What do you require of me? Great Serpent, I have done all that I can. The scaled citadel itself has been transformed to petition you. I know that all must serve, but I need more. I require guidance. Take pity on us and reveal the way forward.
Our leader, Anasko Varun, he has appeared like this over and over. So many of our people have been trapped in this state, these vortex phantoms. But usually they are hostile and lash out. Anasko is different. If only we could hear his voice, some reassurance that all is not lost. You could hear him. Despite the sightings, none have heard the word from Anasko in all this time, yet you claim to. Do not toy with me. Not about this. If you speak truth, you must prove it. What did he say? The serpent.
Are you quite sure? I was right here and I didn't hear a thing.
It is hard to believe, and yet... The experiment was a secret, even to many of our own people. Truly, you did hear an Asco. You have been chosen.
We have to talk. It's important.
People of House Varun, hear me. We have asked the Great Serpent for deliverance from our calamity, and he has answered us. This outsider has been chosen as the most unlikely vessel for the Great Serpent's divine providence, and he will help save us all. Outsider, please. There is no denying you have been sent here as a sign. You must help us. But there are precepts that must be followed, principles that must be obeyed. Even in these dire circumstances, we cannot turn from Jinan Varun's teachings. You will be granted safe passage through Dazra and the lands beyond. No harm will come to you. On that, you have my word. You even have my assurance that your compatriot here will also remain unharmed. But to truly aid us, you must become part of House Varun. This is not a thing done lightly, and it cannot be taken back. Will you commit to helping us by becoming one of the promised? You must mean the Zealots. I assure you, they do not represent House Varun. We do not engage with the settled systems. They would attack us just as soon as you or anyone else. And they would certainly never extend an offer to join them, as I do now in this time of desperation. So, will you? Excellent. Please, come with me. Forgive me for not introducing myself. I am Malibor Dulkev, member of the High Council of House Varun. I have been
Hey,
asked to
I
represent-
need you to listen to me. Members of Constellation are held to the highest regard, yet you persist on making poor decisions that reflect badly upon us. Because you're bending over backwards to help me right now, I'll stick by your side. But know that I don't approve of this behavior one bit.
Open the gate! I must tell you what I reveal for now, but surely you saw the scaled citadel as you arrived. It was the center of an explosion of sorts that has annihilated most of our city. We have lost many of our brothers and sisters. I believe we are still in danger.
Counselor, what is the meaning of this?
Is there a problem, Makula?
This city is in shambles. The speaker is missing, and here you are leading some outsider through our sacred space? Why allow this husk to defile our city? Have we not lost enough?
Have faith. I believe this outsider was guided here by the Great Serpent himself. Soon, Serpent willing, they will be one of us. But I can be sure and pass your concerns on to the rest of the High Council, if you wish. I apologize for the interruption. There is a ritual intended for converts to the Promised that has not been performed in generations. We are fortunate that there are those still alive who remember the old ways and have remained prepared for such a moment as this. Herald Inaza. I suspected we might find you here waiting.
I saw the ship landing. I knew immediately that I would be needed.
Indeed you are. This is Inaza Kaisir, Herald of the Serpent. She will guide you through the ritual. I am needed elsewhere, but I assure you that you are in good hands.
So, the Great Serpent sends you to me. Know, Husk, that to walk the Serpent's path, to enter this sacred cave, there is no turning back. You will be forever changed. This is a path you must walk of your own free will, alone. Will you step forward and emerge anointed, one of the promised? A lesson, a test, then enter. But this is a journey you must undertake alone. Your escort cannot follow.
I'm not exactly a fan of splitting up, but I'm also not eager to offend. You'll just have to tell me all about it afterwards.
I will await you at the end of the Serpent's path. You must walk the path. I am merely here to guide you along your way. Before House Farouk, there were humans. First on Earth, then scattered among the stars. And like all humans, they were lost souls, wandering in the dark, looking for a path. One particular colony ship housed several hundred of these souls. They were each alone and isolated, individual tiny flames that could be snuffed out at a moment's notice. But Jinan encountered the Great Serpent and was given the gift of knowledge. He shared his knowledge with those around him and lit the way for them. They followed his guidance and his light, and they cast aside the burdens of their former lives. And thus, House Varun was born. Now you too have the chance to cast aside your burdens, to relieve yourself of anything that holds you back. The people's hopes and fears and dreams were entrusted to the Great Serpent. They made the leap of faith that brought House Varun to greatness. You may now follow in their footsteps and take that same leap. Embrace the Great Serpent, and he will embrace you. people of House Varun settled this world, at first in these very caves. Shinan Varun himself slept among them in these shelters. It was here that he spread the word of the serpent. It was here that the people of House Varun first understood the truth of their place in the universe. And it was here that the people of House Varun first understood the truth of the shrouding. The great serpent's return. He will encircle the universe he created, and all those who do not follow will be cast into shadow. And the people weighed this knowledge against their former lives, and saw how they had been blessed despite the difficult new life that awaited them. You too would do well to feel that solace amidst the pain. Until that day comes, we are the voice and the hands of the Great Serpent. Our every act a sacrifice to hasten his return. Make now a sacrifice to prove your devotion. And remember, whether in life or in death, all must serve. Let us begin the final ritual. While none since Jinan Varun have stood before the Great Serpent, we can all feel his presence. To solidify his bond, you are presented with a simple choice. Before you on this dais are several items. They represent different aspects of House Varun's connection to the Great Serpent. Pick which you lay them all offerings to the Great Serpent that he may reveal his spirit and make you a promise. And so you arise, one of the promised of House Varun. Did you feel the great serpent working within you? Do you feel born anew? The great serpent sees that despite your supposed lack of belief, you reached for him at every opportunity. That zeal is precisely what House Varun needs right now. To truly commit to the great serpent requires utter devotion and unending obedience. I grant you the title of Reverend. All will know you. All will trust you. Above us, in the grand ship morning, jewel of the Varun fleet, the High Council awaits your arrival. Serve them. Serve the great serpent. All must serve.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Admiral Logan sooner rather than later.
Did you need something? Welcome, Reverend. You stand before what remains of the High Council, advisors to Anasko Varun. We are all that is left after the disaster that has befallen our people. I represent House Dulkef. Jamal is from House Kadik, and we are joined by Lovek of House Vital. We are, all of us, hopeful that your arrival in Dazra and your clear connection to Anasko Varun, for the first time in weeks, represent some semblance of hope. I understand. Until you were one of us, we could not trust you.
By all means, Malabor. I can't wait to see how you spend this.
Please, can we just for a moment...
Can we just for a moment what? Discuss whether or not to allow the first convert to House Varun since before any of us were born? A bit late on that, it seems.
You were not there. You did not see Anasko. It felt different. We have already wasted so much time...
You're correct. I was not there. Because you elected to travel to the spaceport on your own, and then decided this on your own.
Do not waste time with more bickering. Anasko, and by extension House Varun, suffers with every passing moment.
Of course, Lovek. My apologies. Please, Malabor, do go on.
Anasko Varun, like his father before him, has relied on the teachings of Jinan to guide us. Anasko wondered if perhaps it was time to seek guidance directly from the Great Serpent, and so sought a means of reaching out.
Perhaps he found the teachings inadequate.
Careful, Kadik. You tread on dangerous ground.
I mean nothing by it. We simply were never consulted on the matter and do not know the full motive.
The point is that a series of experiments have taken place over the years, utilizing grav drive technology to hopefully make direct contact with the Great Serpent, similar to Jinan Varun's initial meeting.
And then something went wrong.
We do not know what happened. We were not inside the Scaled Citadel at the time.
Had we been, we wouldn't be standing here now. We'd be like the rest of them.
A great tide of energy emanated from the scaled citadel and swept across Dasra. Much was destroyed in its wake. Those caught in the blast have been left in a state of confusion, trapped halfway between our universe and the Vortex. The citadel itself remains in such a state. Right there and yet beyond our reach. We can only assume that the experiment is still running, somehow preventing us from entering the citadel. We cannot get in, so we cannot stop it. We're beginning to lose hope before you arrived. Forgive me, I am no scientist, but as it has been explained to me, what we call the Vortex is the space between universes. Your arrival and your interaction with Anasco shows that he can still be saved. The plan had been devised to access the Citadel, but the work stalled. Clearly, it is time to move forward with it. The current head of our science team, Ekris, should be in Jinan Plaza down below us, towards the Citadel. Tell him about your experience with Anasco, and that work on the morning device must proceed.
Do you know the scientists out at Hamadi Station?
The old married couple? Azad and Shireen, if I remember right. I've met them a few times.
There's already enough trouble in Dasra to go around.
Were our sins really so great?
Yes? Well, look who it is. You have made quite a stir, and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment. To what do I owe the honor, Reverend? Well. Progress, at last. Then your arrival is even more momentous than I'd believed. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the scaled citadel. Until we can get through it, we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect grav drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way. Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and everyone realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations. And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating. Indeed. All must serve. I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work. If you're here, the Council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process. I appreciate that someone around here is eager to get to work. House Fetal owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. Al-Skadiq was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dul-Kef, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the Speaker, and for House Varun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. Well, then you are in luck. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. I do hope you are not questioning the thoroughness of my research. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should so. And, depending... Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all these phantoms. I know. We haven't... Second, these horrors, we have managed to... Well, they...
I wonder if there isn't... I have something for you when you have a moment. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Admiral Logan sooner rather than later.
You can't be serious granting them an audience. This is exactly the impression we don't want to give.
Please, Jamal. Don't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we've worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder.
Don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough. Yes?
So, Ekris has sent our newest reverend to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry, Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction. You're right. It's not wise to waste time on pleasantries, especially now. Besides, who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice? I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers, but the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage by zealots, and now they're demanding negotiations.
Taking hostages and negotiating? Doesn't sound like the zealots we're used to.
The zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council, or even the reinstatement of their house. House Malene. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands. Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action. And that is where the issue lies. I don't know where the zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated. Indeed, they are. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now, forcing them to give up the information. Get the information.
I certainly hope it wouldn't come to that.
See that you do. You'll find Merrick.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Admiral Logan sooner rather than later.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here? Oh, so you're the heretic-turned-reverend who thinks they're one of us now. So, tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me? Perhaps you need to lay off the Koza, my friend. You're talking nonsense. Absolutely ridiculous. After all I've done. I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Razma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here. On the contrary, I know how important it is to keep that information confidential. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rosma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me. Almost. Sir, as I've worked hard, and like I've told, so... Oh, I don't think so. I suppose you have a point. When you put it that way... I won't argue her importance. I do have a gift. All right, I'll let you in on their location. But remember, you're the only one that knows. If word spreads, I'll know exactly who's to blame. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rosma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned. Isn't the answer obvious? The Zealots will know the location came from me. All that hard work, thrown out the window. It better.
Fair point. But if I don't hear
Something
about
I can do for you?
I'll be looking for an investigation approval. You must have gotten the location. Ah, yes, the old Varun military outpost. It's a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates. If anything happens to the hostages, they will lose a lot more than leverage.
Don't worry. If anyone can bring those hostages back safely, it's us.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe. Good. Serpent willing. Your timing will line up. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still Now,
Reverend, a word before you go. Tell me, Reverend, what do you know about the Zealots? Well, what sounds like a mere nuisance to you is a very real terrorist threat to us. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots? I'm surprised she even mentioned that much. Rasma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the Zealots, so the Council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of Zealots under her thumb for quite some time. This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Rasma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
I don't see how anyone could sympathize with such fanatics, let alone work with them.
Exactly. House Khadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the Zealots. But the truth is far worse. Rasma wants the Zealots to back House Khadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade. House Khadik would be condemned should anyone outside our house find out. What none of us expected was the aftermath. Rasma has lost. And that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Khadik shouldn't be associating with Zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind. How astute. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Khadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it. Should the...
And I thought Zealots were bad. Now I'm not sure what disgusts me more.
Great Serpent keep you. Like I said, House Khadik shouldn't be... But worse, we need to cut... One would think it's... I want you, and while my position... Should the...
And
I'm doing what I must to preserve this house. All you need to get... Reverend? So, do I have your cooperation? Will you make the sacrifice so House Khadik cuts ties with the Zealots for good? Excellent. As you may have guessed, we can't afford any loose ends, and you'll need a cover story for Rasma. When you arrived, the Zealots had already killed the hostages, so you exacted revenge in House Khadik's name. see that you do. I look forward to seeing...
If you don't mind,
require aid, Hanton Irara is also here.
Year 2240, House Varun
I have
went to
not seen
war
my sister in
with the
days.
Senate. What has come to be known
And I
as
pray
the
nothing has
Serpent's
happened to
Crusade.
her.
Did we win?
Well, the settled systems think they did.
Why did we fight them again?
Jinan Varun.
All must serve.
Huh? Oh, forgive me.
Leave Orahim. You're not welcome here.
If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Admiral Logan sooner rather than later. Let's put it in gear. Oh, please don't tell me you're going to eat that.
I ain't gonna be born.
Oh, the groats in the crater look sweet enough to pet.
Watch it!
death wish or something?
Nothing personal. I ain't got time for this. Hate to use force, but I gotta do it. to.
You're carrying too many odds and ends. Can't you get something more? If you don't mind.
Aim straight and steady.
The Great Serpent will have you! I'm repositioning!
Was hoping for a quiet day.
I think you need to get rid of some of that gear. Might as well take what we can.